Welcome to the deep dive. So if you think back to Japanese racing, say the late 1980s, that whole Showa Heisei transition period,
Yeah.
well, there's one horse that just looms over everything. The gray monster, Oguri cat.
Oh, absolutely. He was massive. Not just a racehorse. He was like a cultural icon. Changed everything.
Totally. But, right there alongside him, often kind of in his shadow, but always, always fighting.
You're talking about Yaeno Muteki.
Exactly. His fiercest rival. And that name, Unbeatable of Yaeno, it's quite a statement.
It really is. And that's kind of what we want to dig into today, isn't it? How this, well, maybe underdog is the right word.
Yeah, I think so.
How this horse overshadowed by Oguri still managed to build his own legacy and actually ended up changing the rules of the sport, the JRA rules.
Okay, let's get into it. So Yaeno Muteki, where do we start? His beginning was quite late, wasn't it?
Very late. He was born in 85, a bay colt, but didn't race until February of his 3-year-old year. That's, cutting it fine if you're aiming for the classics.
Yeah. But bang, right out of the gate, he makes an impression.
Oh, yeah. Smashed his debut. Then the Jinshu show wins by 12 lengths. Just incredible potential right there.
You see that and think, okay, here's a star, but then the system kind of trips him up.
Exactly. It comes down to the prize money. Those early wins, while visually impressive, were in, let's say, lower tier stakes.
Okay.
So they didn't earn him enough cumulative cash for automatic entry into the Satsuki show, the first leg of their Triple Crown.
Right. So even though he's winning easily, he's basically on the bubble. Needs more money, fast.
Correct. The stable basically had no choice. They had to run him again immediately.
Wow.
Just 1 week after that big win, they put him in the Minichi High. That's a really tough ask for a young horse.
And did it work?
No, not really. The pressure, the quick turnaround, he finished fourth.
Just fourth. But that race, that was significant beyond just the result, wasn't it?
That's where it all starts, really. Because the horse who beat him that day, their very first meeting on the track,
Let me guess.
was Oguri Cap, the rising star from the regional circuit. That loss, that fourth place, that's the true start of this epic rivalry.
So even after rushing him into that race, he still doesn't have enough prize money for the Satsuki show automatically.
Still short. He needed luck, pure luck.
The lottery system.
Yep, had to rely on the lottery. And you have to understand, the Satsuki show only kept a few spots open for horses like him, horses who hadn't met the main criteria.
Yeah.
Getting drawn, the odds were terrible.
But he did.
He did. That's miracle number 1. Get it in.
And number 2.
Drawing post position 1. The inside rail, back then they called it the Golden Gate. Just the perfect spot.
Incredible. Pure luck meets desperation, maybe.
That sums it up pretty well. And nobody really rated his chances. He went off as the 9th favorite. All eyes were elsewhere.
But he didn't run like a 9th favorite relying on luck. Tell us about the race.
Well, he used that inside draw perfectly, settled just off the pace, saved ground the whole way. Then on that final turn, while others were going wide, he just surged up the rail, found a gap.
Took his chance.
Exactly. And he had to dig deep in the stretch, but he held on. He won his first ever win on turf, and it's a classic, a total shocker.
Amazing story. But this is where it gets even bigger, right? Because his win, his lottery win, suddenly throws a spotlight on the other side of the coin.
Precisely. While Yaeno Muteki scrapes in via lottery, you've got Oguri Cap winning race after race, looking dominant.
But he can't get into the Derby.
Exactly. Because of the old rules. And the media, the public, they start asking questions loudly.
Okay, so let's pause there. What exactly was the flaw? What rules were keeping a horse like Oguri Cap out?
Well, historically, JRA Classic eligibility was, let's say, biased towards horses who'd earned money in specific JRA circuit races early on, or horses registered and trained at the right places from the start.
And Oguri Cap came from the regional tracks, Kasamatsu.
Right. So even though he was clearly brilliant, his early wins didn't count the same way. Not enough prestige, not enough official JRA prize money for automatic entry into the top races like the Derby.
So the argument basically boiled down to, why is this obviously talented horse, Oguri Cap, locked out by red tape, while another horse, Yaeno Muteki, who's good, yes, but needed a lottery ticket, gets to run in the Satsuki show?
It highlighted the unfairness, didn't it?
It really did. The contrast was just stark. Yaeno Muteki's luck versus Oguri Cap's exclusion. It showed the JRA system was prioritizing maybe tradition and where you started over actual current ability.
So what happened? What change did this whole controversy lead to?
It kicked off a major debate that resulted in the late entry registration system.
Ah, okay. Explain that.
Basically, it created a new pathway. It allowed trainers to nominate promising horses for the classics later on, even if they didn't have the early prize money, maybe because they raced regionally or just developed late. It was about merit, finally.
Wow. So Yaeno Muteki's improbable win literally forced a rule change. It was the catalyst. His luck exposed the system's flaw, and they had to address it. He sort of accidentally became a reformer.
Incredible. But okay, he wins the Satsupi show like that. Now he has to prove it wasn't just a fluke, right? That he deserved it.
Absolutely. The pressure was on to validate that win.
Yeah,
he really did. He didn't just disappear. In the Derby, the Tokyo Yushin, he ran a really solid fourth. Showed he belonged.
Okay.
Then he ran second in the Chunichi Sports High to a top horse, Soccer Boy. Proved his class again.
So, keeping good company.
Definitely. And by the autumn, he had added 2 more wins in good stakes races, the UHB High and the Kyoto Shimbun High.
Yeah.
So he ends his 3-year-old year with 6 wins from 10 starts. That's consistency.
Especially in that era. Because his timing, it was both a blessing and a curse, wasn't it? He peaked right in the middle of this golden age of rivals.
Oh, unquestionably. It was maybe the most competitive era ever in Japanese racing. A blessing because those rivalries made him famous, defined his toughness. A curse because, well, winning was incredibly hard.
You had Oguri Cat, the people's champion.
The idol, yeah. Brilliant miler, could stretch out too. Then you had Super Creek.
The stayer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A champion stayer, relentless over longer distances. Completely different challenge.
So Yaeno Muteki, this tough middle distance horse, he's constantly caught between these different types of brilliance, has to adapt constantly.
He did. Incredible versatility was required. And that's just 2 of them. You also had Inari 1 emerge.
The dark horse who became a star.
Right. Majiro Ardan was always there, another top classic contender. Bamboo Memory had pure speed. Oseichi George was another crowd favorite. It was just packed with talent. Multiple Hall of Famers.
So just placing well consistently in that company, that's what made him a warrior horse.
That's the perfect term for him. Look at his 4-year-old season, 1989.
What stands out?
He wins the Osaka High early on, showing he's elite. But then look at the big ones. 3rd in the Milers Cup. 2nd, a really tough 2nd in the Yasuda Kinnan. 3rd in the Takarazuki Kinnan.
So not always winning, but always right there. Always in the fight.
Always in the money, always making the winners work for it. That was his signature, that resilience.
Which brings us perfectly to the autumn of '89, the Tenno Show Autumn. The sources all call this his masterpiece.
It really was. The Tenno Show Autumn, 2,000 meters at Tokyo, the premier race at that distance. And the field was stacked.
Oguri Cap was there.
Oh, yeah. Oguri was there, the heavy favorite. Majiro Ardan was in top form, too. Everyone expected one of them to win.
But Yaeno Muteki, the warrior, he had other ideas. Describe this dance in Tokyo.
It was just perfectly executed. He broke well, like always, settled just behind the leaders, stalking. Very patient ride. Then turning for home, his jockey made the move. And the response, it was electric. The papers described it perfectly. He moved like a dancer on the Tokyo turf. Graceful, yet powerful. Not just raw effort, but smooth acceleration.
Grace and power. That's a great description for a horse known mostly for grit. But he had to fight for it at the end, right?
He did. Majiro Ardan came flying late, put in a huge challenge. But Yaeno Muteki just dug in, found more, and held him off. His 2nd G1 win.
And not just a win.
A course record. He broke the track record for 2,000 meters at Tokyo.
And crucially, he beat Oguri Cap head-to-head in a major G1.
That was the validation. The absolute peak. It silenced any doubters. As one headline put it, Muteki's dance blossomed on Tokyo's 2,000 meters. Just a perfect moment.
He kept racing after that, didn't he? Still facing Oguri Cap.
Yeah, he faced him again in the Japan Cup and the Arima Kinnan that year. Didn't win, but like always, never backed down.
Yeah.
He went out fighting.
And then retirement. But interestingly, no big public ceremony for him.
No. And the reason is quite telling, actually. It was because of his fiery temperament.
Really, he was difficult.
Apparently quite tricky, especially in crowds or high-pressure spots. Could be tough at the gate, sensitive to noise. His team felt a big public send-off would just stress him out enormously.
So they prioritized his well-being. That's quite something.
It shows they really cared about him as an individual.
So he retires. Did the unbeatable name translate to success as a stallion? Sadly, no. That often happens. Great racehorse. But his offspring, they just didn't inherit that top-level talent. Commercial interest dried up.
And his ownership syndicate dissolved. That sounds precarious.
Yeah, it could have been. His future looked uncertain for a while, but this is where the story gets really heartwarming.
The fans.
The fans stepped up. His dedicated followers, people who remembered his heart and his rivalry with Oguri, they started fundraising, donating money.
To support him in retirement.
Exactly. To make sure he had a safe, peaceful place to live out his days. And thanks to them, he did. Lived a remarkably long life at a farm, passing away in 2014. He was 29.
Amazing. A testament to his impact. But going back to that Satsuki show, that single lucky win had the biggest lasting legacy, didn't it?
Institutionally, yes, without a doubt. That win, as we discussed, reshaped the conversation about race eligibility. It directly led to that late entry system.
Which meant future stars, horses, maybe starting out unconventionally, like Tiamat is a famous example. Right. They wouldn't be shut out just because they didn't fit the old JRA mold. Yaeno Muteki, the horse who needed that lottery ticket, literally opened the door for them. He defined the drama and the fight of that whole era.
So the name means unbeatable, but maybe his real story is about being unyielding.
That's perfect. Unyielding. Just a relentless fighter who stood his ground against giants and ended up changing the sport itself.
So think about this. We started with a horse who, by pure chance, a lottery draw, gets into his first big race. He wasn't the undisputed champion, wasn't the biggest name.
No, he wasn't. But that one moment of luck, that slightly improbable victory, it caused enough of a stir, highlighted enough of a system flaw.
That it led directly to a major rule change, a change that made the sport fairer for generations of horses that came after him.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it, about the hidden impact of these lucky breaks or the overlooked competitors in sports history. Sometimes the struggle just to get in has a bigger ripple effect than the champion who cruises to victory.
Something to definitely think about until next time on The Deep Dive.
Keep digging.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more.